Welcome to Red Lipstick Vibes, where the vibes are always positive. Now, child, listen, there's a little disclaimer, okay? All views and opinions are not the views of the host. This is a space for all to share their views respectfully and on topic, baby. If you are triggered or bothered by someone's opinions or thoughts, address them directly. Do not come for me, child. There is no censorship here unless you are targeting someone personally with the intent of being messy and rude. Let me be clear. We are here to understand all thoughts, views, and address the topics or questions that are being asked. I want to keep the conversation going to gain understanding from all men and women, respectfully. Now, let's start the show, baby.
Coming up on Red Lipstick Vibes.
I'm unstoppable, yeah, unstoppable. I'm unstoppable, yeah, unstoppable. I'm unstoppable, yeah, unstoppable. I'm unstoppable, yeah, unstoppable.
Hey, everybody. Thank you guys for coming through. Can I get a 1 in the chat if you all can hear me and all that other good jazz? Let me know if y'all can hear me. Can y'all hear me? Am I clear? Mic check 1 2. Mic check 1 2. Mic check. Mic check 1 2. Okay. So tonight we are going to, because this is the first night of the Autism Symposium, tonight we're going to go through what autism is and going to give some good information. So if you know someone that has a child or an adult that has autism, or if you suspect that your child may have some type of disability and just need some signs and awareness of what you need to look for, even if you don't have kids now. It's always good to know what to expect and what to look for, once you do have children. Okay, where am I? Lord have mercy. Okay, what? Nope. Oh, there I go. Hey guys. Hey everybody. So, shout out to everybody that's tuning in. I know there's a lot going on in YouTube streets, so I appreciate you guys coming through and hitting the like button, and all that other wonderful stuff. Shout out to our first super chat of the night. Shout out to C Breezy for the $2. The what are we doing? Little pair, the pair waving. Thank you so much, C Breezy. So I'm not going to delay it because there's a lot of information that we need to get through. So, and the link is in the chat, pinned to the top, if you want to come up. And if you have any questions, put the questions in the chat and I will try to answer them as much as possible. Okay. Shout out to everyone that's on the ACCP side, and also to everyone that's on the ACCP Facebook side. Shout out to you guys too. We are multi-streaming on 5 platforms, and shout out to everyone that's on the website side as well. I think it's like 42 people over there. Hey guys, so let's go. Let me see. CBZ, what you say? I wouldn't have much to add to this conversation, but I'm listening. Oh, that's fine. I mean, it's good information. Well, and also there are different levels to autism, so um, you'll be surprised that people that you interact with have autism. So, I mean, it's always a good thing to know. I mean, in today's this show is going to be a little detailed and everything. So, but I thank you for coming through and listening. And it may be something that you hear or see, or something that that may bring you a question. All right. So without further ado, let's get started because we got a lot to go through. Let us pull up my slide. Y'all know I got my slides, okay? Y'all know I got my slides. So let us pull up the slides. And here we go. I'm going to be covered up a little bit because I want to make sure everybody sees my slides. Can everybody see this? Okay. All right. Oh, have mercy. Let me move me out the way. Let me put me down here. I'll hide behind the avatar. Let me do it this way. Oh Lord, I do not want to hear you burping, my child. Okay. All right. All right. So let us go back. We kind of have ourselves. Okay. All right, guys. Do you know what autism is? Do you know what autism is? All right. Autism is autism spectrum disorder, or better known as ASD, is a developmental disability that's caused by differences in the brain. Autism disorder spectrum is a development condition involving persistence by challenges within the following: challenges with social skills, challenges with communication, restrictive or repetitive behaviors or interests. And I will be explaining that a little bit more in the other. Excuse me, is somebody what? What are you saying? If someone is on the, huh? What are you talking about? Okay. All right. Thank you, Black, for sharing. All right. What is autism? Autism exists on a scale from mild to severe. Okay. We're going to get into the levels because there are now levels of learning. Okay. Learning, responding, and thinking differences result in confusion, frustration, anxiety, expressed with withdrawal, repetitive behaviors, and sometimes in aggression or self injury. We're going to talk about that too. Autism is generally evident before the age of 3. And see, this is where I say a lot of parents need to know the signs because typically you will start noticing the signs. I started noticing immediately before age 3. So that's why, if you have kids or grandkids maybe in the future, or you want to have kids one day, it's always good to know the signs. Thank you, Black TV, for sharing. Thank you, sweetheart. Um, you're distracting me right now with, okay. Autism is generally evident before the age of 3. Um, that adversely affects educational performances. Other characteristics often associated with autism are engaging in repetitive activities and stereotyped movements, resistance to environmental change, and change in daily routines, unusual responses to sensory experiences. So, how many knew that autism goes as far back as 1943? 1943. So Leo Kander, research paper of 11 children with similarities and differences published in 1943. Research noted that children included their inability to develop relationships with people, delayed or absence of speech, and their need for sameness in routine, repetitive, or stereotypical behaviors in overall lack of imaginative play, isolated or aloof. Kanner used the term autism to describe them. Autism means self. Autism is also often misdiagnosed in early childhood schizophrenia back in those days. That's where they would put children or adults in the insane asylum because they, deemed them as, schizophrenia or dangerous. So a lot of people don't know that autism is not a real thing. I mean, not a real thing. I mean, not a new thing, but it has been around since 1943. And what is so interesting, and I hope you two don't flag me before saying this, but this is around the time, a lot of stuff was being created and introduced to our children. I'll leave that alone. We'll talk about that another day. But anyway, um, thank you for the people that's in the clouds. Please hit the like button. This is not a fun. This is not a uh, laughing show or whatever. This is strictly information. Okay, strictly information. So um, if you don't know anyone that's affected, or you don't have kids, or plan on having kids, or whatever, I understand you're not wanting to be here, but this is strictly information show, y'all. Okay, let's go on. Because I got a lot of slides. Because Hassan told me today that I should not have 50 slides. Okay. So I did Hassan. I know you're going to catch the replay. I cut them down, okay? It's not 50. All right. All right, let's look at some facts and figures. Autism is 1 in 36 children born in the U.S. 1 in 36. Shout out, hey Teddy and brothers in the house. Thank you guys for coming through. The link is at the top if you want to come up and help me get through these. 1 in 36 children in the U.S. have been diagnosed with autism. 4 in 100 boys and 1 in 100 girls have autism. 1 in 45 adults in the U.S. have autism. It's a very big number. Hey, Marcus. More children will be diagnosed with autism this year than with AIDS, diabetes, or cancer combined. Autism is the fastest growing serious developmental disability in the U.S. Let me say that again. Autism is the fastest growing serious developmental disability in the U.S. Boys are 4 times more likely than girls to have autism. Typically manifests around the age of 18 months to 3 years old. Recent study has estimated that the lifetime cost to care for an individual with autism is $3.2 million. Child, I think I'm already at $3.2 million. I have a gentle giant, okay? You know, those size 14 shoes, baby, cost a lot. And it's found throughout the world in I don't want to hold on, y'all. I just unhooked something. I don't know what I just did, but I did something. Okay. It's found throughout the world in families in all racial, ethnic, and social backgrounds. So this is not just a Black issue. This is just not a white issue. You know, it's affecting all races, all ethnic backgrounds, all nationalities, unfortunately. All right. Let's go. Okay. So now there are 3 levels to autism, right? So you have severe autism, which is well, let's start from level 1. Level 1 is high functioning. So high functioning would be Rain Man. High functioning would be Elon Musk, and so on and so on. So these are people that don't need needs little support. Patients' social and communication skills or repetitive behaviors are only noticeable without support, right? It is not something that you can pretty much, for the high functioning, they can hold a job. Some can live on their own, run companies. So this is what you would call high functioning autism, which is level 1. Okay. So then we have level 2. Level 2 needs substantial support. Patients' social and communication skills and repetitive behaviors are still obvious to the casual observer. So a person on the street can observe some of the differences. Versus on a level 1, which is high functioning, they function in the world if you don't know, you couldn't tell, right? So, but with a level 2, you pretty much can tell, and they need support. Some, I would say in level 2, I would say with them, because my son is level 2. or he's kind of like in the middle between level 1 and level 2. He could stay on his own, but he would need someone to, like, come in and check on him to make sure everything's fine, that kind of thing. His awareness of danger, and we'll get into that when we talked about the safety thing. His awareness of danger is not as strong as it should be to be able to live on his own. So with a level 2 autistic person, would need some type of support. They would need maybe a caregiver or a nurse or something like that if they're living on their own. And if, of course, if they're living at home like my son. Then we have severe autism, which is level 3. They need support 24/7. Patient social and communication skills repetitive are severely impaired daily life. So they need someone 24/7. They need to be watched 24/7. They cannot be left on their own. We'll get into some of the dangers of having a level 3 and a level 2 as well, because some of the dangers that they, especially when it comes to the wandering, we'll get into that because then we'll be here all day talking about that. We'll get into that in a little bit later this week. Okay. So what are some causes of autism? So they're saying genetics, brain disorders, environmental, and biological. Okay. There is so having a genetic or chromosome condition, which such as Fragile X syndrome, is one of the culprits of developing autism. A great deal of evidence support the idea that genes are one of the main causes of or a major contributor to autism. More than 100 genes on different chromosomes may be involved in causing autism to different degrees. Researchers are looking into biological factors. I bet they are. Shout out to RFK. One thing that I love about President Trump is that he has appointed him into office, because when I say he is doing his job, baby, Robert Kennedy, he doing his job, and shout out to him. He is tired of you people trying to kill our babies. Okay, so I have a clip, so you won't have to hear me talking on that will kind of describe what autism is. Okay, let's find my clip. Here we go.
Autism spectrum is an umbrella term used to describe a range of conditions characterized by difficulties in social interactions and communication, unusual sensitivity to sensory inputs, and restricted repetitive behaviors. The word spectrum means there is a great array of symptoms with various degrees of severity. Among people diagnosed with autism, there can be a wide range of intellectual and learning abilities, from highly capable to severely challenged. A number of other conditions tend to occur more often in autistic people, including gastrointestinal disorders, epilepsy, feeding problems, anxiety, and depression. People with autism are often stigmatized, bullied, and have troubles developing a relationship or landing a job. Autism has a remarkably high heritability, but there is a role for environmental factors including parental age, maternal infection or exposure to certain medications or toxins before or during pregnancy, low birth weight, and extreme premature birth. Multiple genes have been involved, many of them having a function in synaptic formation or pruning, the process in which connections between brain cells and brain areas are established. Neuroimaging studies show widespread differences in an autistic brain. Notably, there are alterations in neuronal connectivity. Some connections are enhanced, while others are reduced. Overall, though, an autistic brain seems to have more connections than usual. There is also evidence that areas of the brain containing the so-called mirror neurons are different in most people with autism. Mirror neurons are thought to be responsible for mimicking behaviors that form the basis of our ability to learn new expressions or skills by imitating other people. For example, by seeing an adult smile, a baby learns to smile back. Altered function of these neurons may underlie the inability to express emotions or understand other people's emotions in someone with autism. Our brain has a certain limit on the amount of information it can process at one time. A typical brain selectively focuses on some aspects of the surroundings and ignores others, keeping sensory input at a manageable level. An autistic brain, on the other hand, seems to absorb all information more or less equally, or in some cases, fixates on a different object or subject. As a result, autistic people may notice details that others do not, but have difficulty following the topic of a conversation or seeing other people's point of view. They may take in more information than their brain can handle and become overwhelmed. This causes stress and may affect the ability of the brain to process the information properly, resulting in a delayed response or no response at all. In trying to reduce sensory input, people with autism typically withdraw from others and follow a strict daily routine. Depending on the affected sensory modalities, some people avoid eye contact, others cover their ears to reduce noise level, wear loose clothing to reduce touch, or eat the exact same foods day after day. Changes to a daily routine can cause stress and upset because they bring about new and potentially overwhelming information. Performing repetitive movements, known as stimming, is a common way to relieve stress. A person with severe autism may be at risk of overloading their brain with too much sensory input, causing distress, which may lead to disruptive or self-harming behaviors. On the other hand, changes in brain wiring may also result in intellectual strengths, such as keen observation, great attention to details, and excellent memory.
So he gave a really, really good breakdown of what autism is. And here's the thing that I really liked what he put into the video is he talked about the negatives, but then he also put in there some of the strengths, because if you don't know, they are very, 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 very smart. A lot of them are geniuses. So I think a lot of times people look at as autism as this life-ending disorder. But stay tuned for the rest of the lives and the information we're going to be giving out, because you can definitely turn it around. Having said that, let us go into some of the things we need to do as parents. You know what? I tell you what, this is what we're going to do, because before we get to that part, we need to learn what the signs of autism is. So let me share another video, and she's going to explain a little bit more the signs of autism. Or do I want to do that? I don't know. Let me see. Yeah. Let's do signs of autism.
Behavioral innovations, signs of autism. There are many kinds of developmental disorders found in humans that can cause social, communication, and behavioral challenges. These could be lifelong and present themselves in a wide spectrum of situations, grouped together as autism spectrum disorder, or simply known as ASD. Autism is a lifelong condition that can affect an individual's life and progression, both personally, academically, and professionally. But advancements in scientific research has made it possible for most symptoms to be treated through interventions if the diagnosis is made at an early age. One of the biggest challenges in treatment is that, in many cases, autism is diagnosed much later than the recommended time, which limits the growth and development of children. According to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, or the CDC, autism spectrum disorder affects 1 in 54 children worldwide. Therefore, early intervention is critical for a child with autism. Although symptoms related to autism vary from one individual to another, some signs are more prevalent among those with the disorder. Autism and other developmental disorders are commonly diagnosed in children aged between 3 to 17 years of age. 40% of children with autism spend little or no time with friends. Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder, ADHD, affects an estimated 30% to 61% of children with autism. More than half of children with autism are diagnosed with chronic sleep problems. Anxiety disorders affect an estimated 11 to 40% of children. Repetitive speech, echolalia, or body movements are common. Children with autism are nearly 8 times more likely to suffer from one or more chronic GI problems. Although each individual possesses different traits of autism, some common characteristics come across globally and are mainly characterized by 2 types. 1. Differences in social communication and social interaction, and 2. Restricted or repetitive behavior, interests, and activities. With regards to social communication and interaction, the prevalent characteristic is social-emotional reciprocity, or the back-and-forth interaction that takes place in communication. Individuals on the autism spectrum find it hard to start or maintain a conversation with other individuals. They are also likely to become introverts and unable to share their feelings with others, while also having difficulty to identify and show their emotions. Nonverbal communication is another area of concern for those with the condition. For example, a child may have difficulty in making eye contact, understanding signs, reading others' body language, and might not know how to behave appropriately when around people. Those on the spectrum find it difficult to develop and maintain a relationship with their peers, friends, or other people. Restricted and repetitive behavior can also present themselves through habits, patterns of speech, or usage of certain objects. The need to follow a certain pattern can be so entrenched that those with autism could become fixated in their interests and get upset over small changes in their routine. In short, they are unable to change or do something new out of their daily routine, which further reinstates and nurtures their repetitive habits. Therefore, early intervention is key to identifying these symptoms before they become permanent.
Okay. Any questions? Any questions on what we just heard about the signs of autism? If you have any questions, please let me know. Let me go through the chat because I think I saw some people pop in. We got CBZ right, and Teddy is in the house. Hey Ted. Marcus is in the house. Hi Marcus. Take heed. Good afternoon, darling. And I think I seen a hi 18. And shout out to everybody that's on the Facebook side, the ACCP YouTube side, and on the ACCP website. Shout out to all of you guys. So, any questions on the signs and symptoms of autism, right? And let's get rid of this one. Okay, guys. Shout out to X Christ for subscribing. Okay, so let's get back to our presentation. Okay, how are autism spectrum disorder diagnosed? A multidisciplinary team should be involved in determining the diagnosis. So, if you feel like something is not quite right with your baby, right? I would not wait. I've had parents come to me and say, grandma said, just wait a minute, just wait till they turn to, that. I tell them all the time, do not wait, because the sooner you get the diagnosis, the sooner you can be able to get the appropriate care that your child needs, right? So I say, for me, you don't have to listen to me, but for me, once you notice something is not quite right with your baby, I would suggest that you start doing your research, start taking it to your specialists to get evaluated. Okay. So the multidisciplinary team should consist of, now when he goes to school, when the child is school age, there will be some there'll be some additional components to this. However, for the most part, the main component to the team, and as you can see, is family. Family is going to play a big part in the care of your autistic one. Family, you're going to need that support, right? Also, speech therapists, OT, occupational therapists, the primary doctor, physical therapist, neurologists, behavioral therapists, and when they start going to school, teachers, ENT doctors. I mean, there's literally a team. Your child literally should have a team. If they do not, I will find another doctor. Okay. So all these components are very important to making sure that your child has the correct plan. And we'll get into all of that throughout the week and next week. So a lot of these things we're going to literally break down. So today it's just an overview, okay? It's just an overview. Shout out to TC is in the house. Hey, TC. Oh, I think I got somebody in the house with me. Hey, family.
What's up, sis? How you doing?
I'm good. Just getting through these slides and jazz.
Doing good, doing good. Great information.
Oh my goodness. Do you have anything so far you want to say? I know it's a lot. It's a lot of information. I know. People are like, man, I will go through all that, but I feel like the more information you know, the better you have, better outcomes your child will have.
Absolutely.
Especially when it comes down to the knowing the signs, and this is where a lot of parents and caregivers miss out on crucial time to help their child because they don't know the signs. Because a lot of the things that autistic children do, back in the day, mama or grandma would say, oh, they just bad. They labeled them, they just bad, just beat they behind, they straighten up, but not knowing that it was something else going on. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And just the hands-on, you have to pay a little more attention, be a little more hands-on, and
Hmm.
it's kind of warranted with people that have these sort of developments. So
Yeah.
we see them as complete geniuses, like you was, alluding to Rain Man and so on and so
Hmm.
forth. So, just because they're not quote unquote like us, they have, talents and shine in areas that we would never be able to understand. So
Indeed.
light
Yeah,
up the blue. Light up the blue.
for sure. um and you're so right, especially when it comes to noticing things, when the paying attention to your children. So you cannot be a hands off, especially in these days and times. It's so much, um, just like the slide was saying, some of the causes are environmental and biological. So, and the things that are floating around in the air, floating around in the food. They always trying to inject you with something. You can't be a hands off parent. You cannot.
That's a fact.
And you even have to question the doctors, okay? Because they on the payroll.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
So
That's a
you have to be even careful when you're getting information from them. So you can't be a lazy mama and dad, especially in these days of time. You cannot do that.
absolutely.
So here are some facts and myths. The myth: children and adults with autism spectrum disorder do not care about others. The fact is, children and adults with an with autism often care deeply, but lack the ability to spontaneously develop empathy and socially connect typical behaviors. They actually do care. They do love it. Just have a hard time of connecting the dots on how to show it. They're not used to that, or it's in their mind, but they don't know how to project it or show it. The myth: people with autism cannot have successful lives as contributing members of society. And I don't even have to read the fact about that because we see that all the time. Many of them have jobs, many of them have families of their own. It goes back to depending on what level they are, whether they're high functioning or they're level 2 or level 3. So a lot of them can go off and have productive lives. Um, so, they can go off to college. One of the young ladies and her family that interviewed, Javon, Deaf Mage, her daughter is in college
Yep.
and she's doing really well. So I think this is her first year in college at LSU. Okay, so it's not a death sentence, guys. It's not a death sentence. Um, the other myth is all people with autism spectrum disorder have a savant skill like Dustin Hoffman character in Rain Man. That's the go-to one. That's
Yeah.
the go-to because everybody seen that movie. Whatever. That's the most go-to one. But
Yeah.
there are a lot of famous people that have autism. Most people with autism spectrum disorder do not have any special savant skills. Some have sprinter skills, area of high performance that are not consistent with other skills. That is very, very true. That is very, very true. And we're going to get into that further in the coming week. So let's go through this. Anything you got to say, brother, before I go to the next one?
Nah. So far so good. I'm in line with all of this.
Okay. Sensory and behavioral challenges. Now, here is where, when I said, back in the day, grandma would say, just be his behind, he just bad. Here is where this comes in. So, a lot of autistic people have sensory issues and behavioral challenges, right? So, you may notice a person with autism matching objects. So, my son, there are, there's this one little kid that he likes Legos. That's all he wants to do is Legos. But he doesn't put the Legos together like you think he would. He just wants to line them up by color. So throughout their house, it's like a choo-choo train of Legos by color. So, I mean, then you have some that likes to flick the lights off and on, dropping things repetitively. Sometimes they like the sound or they like the way something bounces. So they will continue to do it over and over because they become obsessive over it. You may see some like do jumping. You'll see some that does the rocking back and forth or the side to side. Some other sensory things are the flapping of the hands, um, flicking objects, spinning, clapping, and unfortunately they have the head banging, tearing the paper, spinning objects, and unfortunately there are some other things that they do. It's hurting themselves. I have worked with one parent where her son would like to just take the pens and pencils and dig, into his skin when he feels overloaded. So these are some of the challenges that some autistic people may exhibit. Anything you had to say with this, brother?
Nah, I just appreciate the information, the awareness. I think all of these little subtleties, like you said, most of them are pretty harmless, but you still
Mm-hmm.
want to be aware of, the different things that they do to soothe themselves, so that,
Right.
again, you just have the information of what to give them in order to soothe, or what environments to put them in. And again, just paying attention, I think, is the biggest thing when it
It
comes to
is. Mhm.
our people, because I think I think it's actually like God being the practical joker that he is. Like,
Mhm.
we call these people special. We might be the special ones. Like you just said, they're
Right.
capable of learning, of
Mhm.
doing things that we can't even fathom with our like
Mhm.
minimal brain power. So I've
Exactly.
always been amazed at people on the spectrum, people that light up the blue always, because I see something in them that they may be the more evolved species. I'll just leave it at that.
Okay, and we're about to talk about that. See, here are some strengths of a person with autism. They have this extreme attention to detail. Okay, like I can use Mr. Caleb as an example. He will know if a hair is out of place. How is it?
Yeah.
Like, for example, um he has his spoons, right? So I have, the tray where you put all your silverware and stuff in, right? So he has the spoons that he loves, right? And he has a spot in the tray that he deemed for himself. And so when I wash dishes and I just put the spoons and stuff, wherever, oh, he gonna point that out. Like, his spoon belongs in this spot and turned around this way. And it's
That's
and I be
a
like, I'm sorry, okay, go
fact.
with that. And his cup, he has a special cup, his own little special cup. He want to buy it. Don't touch his cup,
That's
okay?
right. That's
And
right.
when he washes his dishes, you will see him standing in the kitchen at the cupboard for like maybe a few minutes sometimes, because he wants that cup in that spot a certain way. Like, it has to be that way, or it's not right.
That's right.
It gotta be that
That's
right.
right. That's right.
So they're very thorough, okay? Um,
Mhm.
they have a depth of knowledge and high skill levels. I can use one for example. My son plays the piano by ear, so he will hear what's being played, and he can literally play, and nobody taught him that. So once I saw that he, was taking a liking to it, then I put him into music class, which I need to
Right.
put him back
Fact.
into. But because he had that ear for music, his talent for that is very high. They have deep focus, concentration. They can filter out distractions, and they can be hyper focused on something as well. They have novel approaches, unique thought process, innovative solutions, and they think outside the box. They're very creative. They have a distinctive imagination. I mean, y'all see it all the time. Sometimes Mr. Caleb come in there and say he a plane, okay?
That's right. We all planes too. Goddamn. That's right.
With a plane, and then he comes in the room. He want to be a ghost because he want to scare mommy. Okay, his imagination, Then he want to be the aliens. I'm like, okay, we going
Yeah.
with the flow.
Yes, indeed. And you know what? I'm gonna just make a little slight joke. But
Mhm.
I see some people in this space that kind of like role play. Don't we see it? We kind of point it out to each other. Like, look, he kind
Yeah,
of jumps into these roles and he starts his improv and might go
exactly.
on for the whole show. Bless
They
his
look, they
heart,
can get into character. Okay.
right?
They get into character. I don't know. We gotta look, I need to do some evaluations.
You should have heard your sister the other day messing with me. She said, "Well, you do gotta sleep with your ear covered, and you kind of are hyper focused on things. And if you get a speck on your clothes when we out, you gotta go back home." I
Okay.
said, "Oh, baby girl, jeez,
We got look,
let me.
we need to get some evaluations going
You
on
gotta
now.
start look a little deeper. Look a little deeper."
Welcome back in house. Okay, I missed some things in the
Yeah,
chat.
top cat in the building. The king of Discord is in the building.
CBG said, I can only imagine how difficult it must be for the average parent to juggle a job and take care of a child, depending on whether their level autism 1, 2, or 3.
Yeah, Miss Winter.
Yes, it can be difficult, but see, here is where it comes in. What did I say earlier? Family, your tribe, your community is going to be the biggest team player. Let me go back to that. That's why family is in the middle and it's the biggest. That's a big component. Big component. Um, and we'll get into a lot of that about self care and being a single parent and whatever, raising a child with autism and stuff, because um, at 9 o'clock the premiere of the set 7 stages of grief comes on, and watch that, because this one explains a lot why you need your village. You're gonna need your village. You're gonna need your family when you're faced with this with autism diagnosis. So, and here's another one: accepting may question the norms, may be less likely to judge others. I don't know, because Caleb be judging. Okay.
Come on, Caleb.
Caleb be
That's
like,
right.
I am not with y'all with the listening and don't judging. Caleb
That's
be
right.
judging, baby. Okay. Caleb do not be playing with us. Caleb, Caleb be judging folks. He be looking at people like, nope.
Hmm.
Story time. Okay, look.
Get him, sis. I know you got him.
Let me tell you. Let me tell you how Mr. Caleb be judging. So, Mr. Caleb was probably like 7 years old, right? Little bean. And when we moved into this apartment in New Orleans, right? And so the apartment was really nice. Y'all know that the show that used to come on Melrose Place.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember Melrose Place.
So that's how our apartment was made. We had like the cabanas in the middle, the pool, and all the apartments surrounded the common area. So it was
Okay.
all fancy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But there's always gotta be a little dirty old pervert man somewhere, okay?
Oh, somebody, uncle, come get y'all uncle. Damn.
So Mr. Johnny, shout out to Mr. Johnny. Mr. Johnny was the old pervert man in the building, okay?
Lord Jesus, Mr. Johnny.
So Caleb be judging. Look, first time Caleb saw Mr. Johnny, he looked Mr. Johnny upside down and immediately said no. He was like, no.
Just the word no. Absolutely. Smart man.
Caleb was like, no. Like, stop talking to my mama. Let's go in the house. So one day, Mr. Johnny came knocking at our door, and for some reason, Mr. Johnny wanted to ask for some sugar. I ain't talking about no kids' sugar. He wanted some sugar. He was like, "Do you have some sugar, Agabon?" Let me tell you what Mr. Caleb did. Mr. Caleb came to the door, looked at Mr. Johnny, and slammed the door in his face.
Lord Jesus. Kaboom. That-
Caleb, Caleb said, "We listening, we judging today. Get
That's
away from
right.
my mama." Caleb was not. Caleb don't play about his mommy, okay?
That's
Like,
right. That's
okay.
right.
If your spirit ain't right, Mr. Caleb will be like, get away from my mama. Like, even now, if your spirit ain't right with Mr. Caleb, he will stand in between you and I. He will stand in front of me. Be like, nah, I
Mm,
don't like you.
yes, indeed. Yes,
He,
indeed.
he would look that person up and down, be like, nah, I'm listening, I'm judging. Okay, I'm judging. So those are some of the strengths of our special little ones and big ones. I got a big
Yes,
one.
indeed. Yes, indeed. He's pretty large.
Yeah, he's a big
The
boy.
other day when you looked up at him, we was talking about his hair, and you looked up at the back of his hair. We said, "Look at." She had some whole neck
I
hurt now.
right. I definitely have a gentle giant. I really, really do.
Yes, indeed.
I really do. Yesterday when he was doing exercises with sis, and I was like, sis, look at his arms. His arms is like my whole body, like the length. It's like
Oh man.
I was like, look at his arms are so long. Like, stop growing. Don't grow no more. Okay. So let's talk about the sensory responses. I have a video so we can talk about the sensory. So
Did you introduce him to your little sister yet?
my little sister.
What's her name? Naomi, Melanie, Melissa, Marigatoni. What's her name?
Got Melissa?
There you go. See, knew it was
Oh,
something.
I didn't. Oh, y'all want to see Melissa?
You got it. You didn't introduce them.
No, I didn't, y'all. Okay, y'all. So
That's crazy.
story time, y'all. So I wasn't supposed to be the only girl. My mom and daddy had a little girl, and she died when she was, I think she was like 3 days old.
Rest in peace,
Okay,
baby sis.
and her name is Melissa. So what I did was I took my dad's features, mine and my mommy's features, and put them together, and I created Melissa. So I'm going to show y'all Melissa. This is Melissa, y'all, and she got a message for y'all.
Y'all be nice. That's my
Don't
little sister.
forget to hit the Cash App and support the show. $ red lipstick vibes.
Hey, Melissa, see?
Oh,
Oh, that
she cute
is
too.
Melissa.
She cute.
Let's play with. This is my little sister, y'all. So this is what my little sister could have looked at if she would have lived.
Don't forget to hit the Cash App and support the show. $ red lipstick vibes.
So shout out to Melissa. That's my little sister. So
I
no,
hit the cash app
I haven't
too.
showed him. I haven't showed him Melissa yet, but I'm gonna show
I
him.
hit the cash app too, just for Melissa too. And don't be putting her money in your pocket either, Red. I know how you get down. You
Huh? What?
give Melissa her money.
We gotta start a Melissa fund now.
I sent a cash app, and it was
Mm.
when she said to do it. So
Oh
it's
yeah,
for her.
you did. Okay. Shout out to Melissa.
Make sure Melissa get her money too.
Shout out to Melissa. She got her first cash app. Okay. I have a video, and it's going to kind of talk about the sensories that our kids kind of experience a lot. So let me get rid of the slides. Put brother over here.
So
And
I found another show, sis. It's
you did?
called Love on the Spectrum. So
Yes.
I'm a doctor that one up so we can take a look at them as well. They have
Yes.
some interesting experiences in
Mm-hmm.
regards to love and relationships. So
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna gear up for some good, good reactions to some new stuff. So
Yes, I actually
looking forward.
peeked at the show a couple of times, Love on the Spectrum, and I
Okay,
was
you
like,
like it?
it's very insightful, and I think what is the that show that comes on TV? I think it's The Good Doctor or something like that, where
Oh,
these
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. The good with
doctors.
Sean. Yeah,
Yeah,
Sean.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's my
it's
man.
like I like shows like that because when I talk to my parents that I counsel, they lost all hope, like literally all
Right,
hope,
right.
and when you have positive shows and things like that, kind of gives them like, okay, my child may not be exactly like that, but I can get them close to. My motto, um, when Caleb was diagnosed, I was like, if your kid can do it, mine can too. I don't care what you say. And I made sure I made that happen. And that, like you said earlier, you have to be aware and you have to be a hands on parent That's the only way that's going to happen. But we'll get into more of that in the coming days because we got a lot of information that's going to be given out, guys. A lot of information. So
Indeed.
let's check out this video. He's going to explain the sensory disorder a little bit more.
Talk about the types of sensory needs that you may see in a child with autism, as well as general ideas for how you can help a child cope with sensory needs. As speech language pathologists, we're interested in a child's sensory needs because this can have an impact on interaction and communication. So what do we mean by sensory needs or preferences? We all have certain sensations that we either really like or dislike. For example, have you ever found that you're so bothered by the feeling of the tag in the back of your shirt that you had to change tops immediately? Or are there certain sounds that you find intolerable, kind of like nails on a...
You good over there, sis? Yeah, I was thinking the same things as she said. Yes and yes. Salute to everybody out there. Y'all hit the like button, subscribe, and share. This is Red Lipstick Vibes, where the vibe is always positive, and this is the Autism Awareness Symposium, hosted by Red Lipstick Vibes, creating awareness and paying homage to Autism Awareness Month, and always perpetuating information that is helpful to the communities, our community and others. So
Mm-hmm.
continue to do things for people that are not you, and continue to rock with Red Lipstick Vibes because the information is powerful, needed, and necessary.
I was on mute, wasn't I, brother?
You were. That's why I was kind of feeling, trying to practice on my hosting
Okay,
skills.
so again, look. So I was saying the thing about the tag when she said about the tags.
Right.
Oh, I'm like that. I had to take tag. I had to take the tags off everything.
Yes.
I cannot
Nikki
stand.
said yes and yes.
All right, I can't. Lord have mercy. Look.
And I don't
Oh.
know if it's age or, me and my level of where I operate, but
Mm-hmm.
everything is irritating my skin now, sis. All my
Yes.
clothes
Yes.
have been
Yeah.
changing to 100%. I believe this is the polyester, like the old BVD, the old
Mm-hmm.
silk nylon joints
Yes.
we used to wear. Like everything is that now because the cotton is just
Right.
irritating my skin when I sleep. I'm itching more and like,
Mm-hmm.
nah, I need something softer. And it's that, and I need the rain. I need the white noise of rain every night,
Yeah.
and I need a fan no matter
Yes.
what time of the year
Yes.
it is.
Yes. Yes.
So
Yep.
it's, certain things that we all kind of in sync with, like she said, and we
Yeah.
notice some things, and then it may take age or time for us to notice others. But I think we all have certain sensory things that we are, more favorable, and
Uh-huh.
things we dislike. So yeah, I agree completely. What about you? What's your
Those
situation like
so
over there?
the tags. I have no tags on none of my clothes. Okay, so just so y'all know,
Damn.
I got no.
No.
I did. You did not buy them joints. I take the tags off. Look, I look at how it's supposed to be washed. So you have the little instructions. But and
Right.
now they like on the t-shirts and stuff. Now they just print the little taggy things on the t-shirt instead of
That's
having that
correct.
paper
Yep,
tag.
yep,
Yeah.
yep.
I was like, thank you, Jesus, because
Yes, indeed.
I was tearing clothes up together.
You have a little hole in the back of your shirt because you don't rip the
So
tag
I
off.
had to sew it because I be taking those.
And Nikki got to wash everything. There's nothing we could buy from the store. She got to wash it
Oh
before
yeah,
we
yeah,
put
yeah.
it
Oh,
on. It's
well, see,
like,
that's a
yeah,
given. Oh yeah, yeah.
right,
My
right.
look, that's what my granny said. When you buy something from the store, wash it because
Yes, indeed.
when people go in the store, they try on things and people be dirty trying on
That's a
clothes and
fact.
stuff. You're supposed
That's a
to wash
fact.
it. And things that not supposed to be washed, take it to the cleaners before you even wear it. But especially if you go to the consignment shops and thrift
Yeah.
stores and
Thrift
stuff.
stores. Yep, absolutely. We shop
If
at the
y'all
thrift
don't
store.
wash that stuff for y'all,
Yes. Yes. Good advice, sis. Good
that's
advice.
crazy that y'all don't wash it. So,
Listen to
I
this.
just feel like people don't wash that. Like if y'all don't wash that stuff, and some things you need to pray over because y'all know spirits do travel.
That's
Okay,
a fact.
you wonder why you barking like a dog and carrying on because
Ooh,
you
Lord Jesus,
like
not a German, not a Doberman Pinscher.
they They shaking like a red nosed pit bull. Like what's going
Who? With the tail snipped off?
with the tail snipped off for
Who?
real? So said all humans may have some sort of sensory overload. Yeah, because sometimes I y'all know me, I get overloaded, overwhelmed, and annoyed.
Yeah, yeah. And it
Um,
happens like that.
mm-hmm. However, people on the spectrum may have more severity. Yeah, it's more severe to sensitivity because
Yes.
I know like when Mr. Caleb was younger, uh, high pitched sounds. Oh my lord, poor baby. He did not like that. So he would have
Yeah.
to like
Fire sirens,
yeah,
police
fire siren,
sirens.
train. Yeah, he was not about that life. Now
Nigga
going
said
back,
the black Israelites. Goodness
yeah,
gracious.
yeah, he was now it was so funny because it if you would use the like the music in the like we be in church music be really loud, it doesn't bother him. But when it was outside of it, he was like, nah,
Wow.
this is too
So you
much.
think it's frequency? Maybe it's
It's
frequency.
frequency.
You know
It
what
is.
I mean? Like, right, the frequency
Because
be
I can
increasing.
even tell like the things that he listens to now
Hmm.
that he it's the frequency that's drawing him. So I brought some bells and bowls, right? If y'all know, it's meditation bowls. Y'all know when and what love got to do with it, and
Yep.
you hit the bell, boom, on your radio. So I brought some of those for my meditations, and so I just hit it, and he came running, and he was so fascinated with it, and so every time he comes into the living room area, he has to ding it 3 times. And I don't know why he does it 3 times. I never told him to do it 3 times. He does it 3 times on his own.
Right.
So I need to do some investigation with it because y'all know they be so in tune to everything. And when he goes to sleep at night, he has to have his stars.
Yes,
So
indeed.
he goes to this page on YouTube where it's like traveling through the galaxies with stars, and you hear the swishing sounds. This is how he goes to sleep.
True indeed. We putting
So
a box together for y'all. I'm gonna put something in there for him actually, now that you said that.
okay, thank you, brother.
You know it.
All right, let's finish listening to her.
On a chalkboard. Well, these are all just examples of sensory preferences. That is, a desire or dislike for certain sensations. A person may be oversensitive to certain sensations. And this means that they may be easily overstimulated or overwhelmed by that sensation and may even start to avoid it. Let's think of a few examples that we might see in a child. A child might be oversensitive to movement if you notice him avoiding playground equipment, or crying if you try to put him in the swing, or looking fearful as you approach the escalator.
Let's talk about the escalator.
Okay.
So when my brother passed, I had to go. We had to travel to Baltimore for the funeral service, right? So this would be Kayla's first time going to the airport and on a plane, right? So in the airport they have the escalator ride is long, right? So it's like, oh my god. So we get towards the escalator, and this boy, oh Jesus Christ, I was trying to
Yeah.
coax him so much. I was like, come on, Caleb, it's gonna be all right. He was not about that life. You hear me? And so I stepped on it, and he didn't step with me. So I looked back, and Mr. Caleb was way
Oh
down.
my goodness.
I was like, boy, what is you? So it was, and so thinking that it was this, these two ladies, they was like, we got him, we gonna bring, because they noticed that I was struggling to get him on his escalator.
Man.
I tried to. So I was like, so what they did was, the elevators was on the other side. So they were like, we'll take him on the elevator, meet you there with it. So, and so they took it, and so he came out. Oh, that was the crazy. He is not about the escalator life, okay. But you know what's so
Yeah.
crazy? He loves roller coasters. How is that even possible? You don't like the escalator, but you like roller coasters. How is that possible,
Yeah.
bro?
Yeah, maybe the speed. I don't know. I don't know
That is like,
because
mm,
what's funny to me is I think we see this trait in people when it comes to the elevator. Most
yeah,
people are scared to death of elevators.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
why are you so scared of this little box that goes up and down? But they can't articulate why. They don't really. So, maybe it's the movement and being so slow or just
Hmm.
unpredictable of
And
it.
and
But
maybe you know what, brother? Maybe it's the being closed in,
right,
the
right,
claustrophobia,
right.
and then and that you can't forget the movies and the shows when the elevator falls, you know.
That's correct. That's correct.
And oh, I don't. It was a couple of times when me and Mr. Cater got stuck in the elevator at our old place
Is that right?
in Baltimore. Yes, and the fire department had to rescue us out of there.
Okay. How did he notice what was going on?
Yes,
How did
he
you keep him
did.
calm?
And he was like, he came over to me and he grabbed my arm and he squeezed. So I knew he was kind of scared because when we dropped, it was like shoosh, and I was like, "Oh my god!" You know what I mean? So it's like,
Right, right.
and so when it stopped in between floors, so we couldn't open the doors because we were in between floors. So we would have to like literally like they would have to pull us out, and so he noticed that, and so afterwards he would be hesitant, and so what he would do is he would go all the way to the back of the elevator and hold on to the bar. From that day forward, that's what he would do instead of
Okay.
and if it's crowded, he doesn't want to go in. So he did pick up some type of little phobia from that incident. Yeah, so that was
Yeah.
interesting. All right,
Wow.
let's finish this out.
A child who's oversensitive to sound might cover his ears when he hears the vacuum start, or become upset when the children start to sing at circle time. A child who's oversensitive to sight might prefer dark spaces and avoid bright, sunny rooms.
That's Mr. Caleb. Okay, Mr. Caleb is a vampire, y'all. I'm a witch and he's a vampire. Okay.
Lord Jesus. Don't tell on us, sis. You're telling too much.
Oh, I'm
They're gonna
sorry.
start putting it
Y'all
all
didn't hear
together.
that. I gotta clip that part out. Mr. Caleb is
That's
a
right.
vampire. Mr. Caleb does not like lights on in house. So
Mhm.
my electric bill is very low. Okay. My electric bill is low because he turns off all the lights. He has blackout curtains in his room, and only a sun that comes in the room is through his skylight. Other than that, Mr. Caleb likes dark. He does not. He does not like artificial light. He could take this. He likes the sun or whatever, but artificial light like lights, lamps, and all that kind of stuff, he'll turn that off quick. Like right now, he's in the kitchen, right? He's in the kitchen right now, probably getting a snack, and I guarantee you, he's in there with all the lights out.
Mm-hmm.
But he knows exactly, where the snacks are, so he just leave the lights on and go get a snack. So I asked the eye doctor. I was like, he was like, no, nothing wrong with his eyes. He's like, he just like the dog. I was like, oh God, what's wrong with my baby? So that is a truth. That is something true. Some are very sensitive to lights and stuff. So yeah, that is a thing.
A child who's oversensitive to touch might be very particular about the type of clothing they wear, maybe avoiding things like buttons, tags, and zippers.
Tags.
Or you might notice that they cringe or push away as someone approaches to touch them.
Mm-hmm.
You might also notice children who are oversensitive to certain smells or tastes. A person may also be undersensitive to certain sensations, and this means that it may take more of that sensation to stimulate them, and maybe lead that person to seek out more of it while potentially ignoring other things in their environment. Let's think of a few examples of this. A child who is undersensitive to movement might be constantly on the move. You may see them doing lots of running, jumping, skipping, or climbing, for example. For a child who's undersensitive to sound, you might see that they enjoy turning up the volume on their TV or computer, or that they gravitate to toys that make sound or music.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
For a child who is undersensitive to sight, you might see things like they watch toys up close, watching parts of it move, or they may enjoy dropping objects to watch them fall. A child who's undersensitive to touch might seek out objects of different textures to touch and feel. You might also notice children who seek out a different kind of touch, deep pressure. For children that seek out deep pressure, you might see things like children who enjoy crashing into cushions, or even crawling into tight spaces, like behind the couch.
So this one is a one that I experienced when Caleb was younger. His way of self-soothing was applied pressure to his chin, which was interesting. So he would just literally, put his thumb on his chin and apply pressure to his chin. For some reason, that was soothing to him. And so later on in the week, I'm going to talk a little bit about some things like that. That's why a lot of people buy the weighted vests. A lot of autistic people have weighted blankets because that pressure is a way that they soothe themselves when they're, when anxiety kicks in or when they're upset. It's a way for them to kind of regulate their emotions, so to speak. The applied pressure.
That's a
And
fact.
quite frankly, baby, let me tell you something. That's the best sleep ever in that weighted blanket. Okay, I don't mean no harm.
Yeah, I don't like that much weight, but I kind of use pillows. I kind of prop a
Yeah.
pillow up against my chin and then a
Hmm.
pillow, down by my legs and just have
Hmm.
that weight on me. And
Hmm.
Nikki notices that I kind of like extra weight. And they got a weighted blanket. It was just too heavy.
Yeah,
That was
they
just a
have some
bit
light
too.
ones because they have ones for babies. That's only like
Okay.
a pound or 2 pounds or something like that.
Mhm.
And then they have the much the heavier ones. But and when he was a little bean, when we would go to like the dentist or something like that to keep him calm, they put him in the burrito.
Right.
So the burrito is like this little. It was like this. You know how you swallow a baby?
Mm-hmm.
You swallow a big kid. That's
Mm-hmm.
what it,
Mm-hmm.
that's what
Uh-huh.
it,
Yeah, I would
that's
have
what it
said
was.
pause, but this is showing it's not even needed.
Right. So
Mm-hmm.
so that's what it was. So it was just applied pressure, and that kind of keeps them calm when they're at the doctors or at the dentist or something like that. So
Indeed.
those are some of the things.
Again, I think a age, sis, just, some sounds are very
Mhm.
disagreeable. Some frequencies,
Yeah.
tones are just like I hear you say it, I hear the missus say it, like, nah, I
Mhm.
can't even listen to that right there. Like, turn
Mhm.
that off.
Mhm.
Turn from that voice. Like
Mhm.
certain frequencies, just be like, nah, I can't do it.
Mhm.
And, also with places,
Mhm. Yes.
patterns, all of these different things, like you said, it's just, and again, it's just that awareness. I really think that like you played in the earlier clip, they're
Mhm.
able to absorb 100% of what's going on, while we
Everything.
only absorb certain
Mhm.
things that we may be focusing on or something. Like that's the difference right there. Like they're
Yes.
absolutely
They
using
notice
the
things that we don't
whole.
notice.
There you go. There you go.
They
That
notice things
part.
that we don't notice. And speaking of story time, we got another Caleb I call them Caleb Chronicles. Chronicles of Caleb. Okay.
Let's go. Yeah, I like
So
that one.
Chronicles of Caleb. Here you go. Oh, Chronicle
Chronicles of
number
Kim.
2. No,
Let's go.
3, Mr. Caleb. So speaking of sounds and things and noticing things that, Caleb be listening and judging. He judging. Okay. So I was looking for a church to go to, right? So I saw this little Church of God in Christ church in the ground corner. I was like, let's go to this church. So yeah, all right. We get all dressed. I'm all snazzy and stuff. We go over to the building. Caleb says no. He was not about to go in there. He heard them people singing. He was not about that
Mm,
life.
mm.
Caleb,
Lord,
Caleb did not want to go to the church,
damn. Say
and
not
he was
this one,
like,
Ma.
he pulled me away from that building. You hear me? We had to go find another church to goodness. And then when I found another church, he was all happy and carrying on, clapping and carrying on, but he did not want to go in that church. He heard them people singing, and he was like, "Oh heck no, we not going in." They was not on the right frequency, brother.
I know that's right. I know that's right. Won't he
He
do it?
was,
Won't he do it?
he was like, "Y'all ain't on the right frequency, dog. We ain't going in this church." Look. Oh my goodness.
You might also notice children who seek out certain tastes or smells. The child can also have a combination of these patterns, as they can be oversensitive to some sensations, yet undersensitive to others. If you notice any patterns like this in your child, it can be hard to know what to do. But it can be very helpful to consult an occupational therapist who can give you tips to work specifically with your child. If your child is oversensitive to certain sensations, you may want to help him avoid them if possible. Making certain changes can free up your child to concentrate on other things.
Right. So, for example, when Mr. Cater was younger, he had, the sensitivity to certain sounds and things, and not just, the ambulance or fire truck, but sometimes when the class will be too rowdy, people are just being rambunctious or whatever, or really talking loud, it would bother him too. He couldn't concentrate. So when he was younger, he would have earphones on, the headsets to cover his ears. But then I'll say maybe like a year or two after that, he kind of grew out of that. So his sensibility to sounds changed. So it doesn't bother him, because usually, you'll hear him, he'll grab his ear and close his ears when, it's sensitive. So now I'm by him, maturing and getting bigger and he kind of grew out of that. But there are some ways, to help your child deal with the sensory overloads
without being bothered or distracted by his dislikes. Here are some examples that I've seen before. For a child who's oversensitive to touch, it can be helpful to choose more comfortable clothing if he's sensitive to certain textures. Give him.
Now, speaking of that, I can't tell you how many parents I had to talk with and help when their child will only walk around naked because they don't like clothes.
That's right. Don't like them.
These kids, and they would be big kids too. They do not like clothes. Oh my goodness. Oh man. I had one parent, she was like, I just can't. He just won't put nothing on but his underwear. He didn't want nothing else on. If they were going somewhere, that he would put the clothes on, and then by the time they got to him, he done had the clothes off in the car. I was like, she was like, I don't know what to do. I want to take him places, but he want to get naked all the time. So finding loose fitting clothes when you got the child that's oversensitive with clothes, okay?
Or you're about to do something or touch him. For example, if you're about to take off his Band-Aid, warn him by showing him and telling him what you're about to do. For a child who's sensitive to sound, there are some modifications that you could make. For example, in a classroom, you could consider placing socks or parts of tennis balls under the legs of chairs to dampen the sound when they move. You could consider avoiding going to really loud places with your child, but I've also seen families use noise-canceling headphones when they do go to loud places. Yep. These are just a few examples. Of course, you have to decide what would work best with your child. On the other hand, if your child seeks out certain sensations, you may need to find creative ways to help him get these needs met. Sometimes children engage in repetitive behaviors as they are seeking out certain sensations. And while it may be tempting to try to stop this, it can be much more helpful if you can use these sensory preferences to create a game that you can play together. If you can do this, you're not only satisfying your child's sensory needs, but also creating opportunities for interaction and communication.
So that is our clip for sensory. I hope you guys understood, what she was saying. If you have any questions, just let me know. I got you. And throughout this, for the next 2 weeks, we're going to have a lot of information, and it's going to cover some of these parts in this presentation too. So, and a little bit more in depth. So don't worry, we're going to get to it. So again, just like she was saying in the video, touch, movement, body position, the visuals. You have the hearing issues. Some people have like, they don't like certain smells and they don't like certain tastes. So let's talk about interaction and communication. And this one is very important, especially if you have someone in your life um, that has autism, and we need to know how they communicate with each other, right? So, autistic people experience social communication differences. The way this affects a person can vary and can include differences in the use and understanding of speech, gestures, eye contact, language, and tones of voice. How this impacts on a day to day life. People often use body language and sarcasm to convey something. Autistic people often find these difficult to understand. A autistic person may not be able to use gestures and interpret other people's gestures. Autistic people may interpret language literally. So if you're saying something as a joke, they may take it like, are you really serious about what you just said? Like, so many misunderstood, like pull your socks up, or metaphors like my head is spinning. They're gonna think that your head is really spinning. Like, okay,
Right.
like literally looking like, excuse me, your head spinning? I don't see your head spinning. Wait a minute, what you mean by your head spinning? So you got to be careful with their tone of voice may not always reflect the way an autistic person is feeling. Um, they may yell when inappropriate is not appropriate to yell, um, or have a soft spoken voice. So this is where it comes in again. You have to pay attention to your kid. You cannot be a hands off parent at all. I have to notice everything about Mr. Kim. When I say everything, everything, because you have to notice any changes in their behavior or changes in their bodies. Like I literally have to like go and touch his back and arms and make sure there's like no lymph node swollen, no boils, nothing. I'm looking for the pimples and things. He's a big boy now. He got a little I call them pork chops, the little sideburns on his face, and so I'm looking for that. You got to pay attention to your kid. Because something can be wrong with them and they don't know how to tell you. They can't put it into words. So you parents, you have to pay attention to your kids. Autistic people may be perceived as rude because they avoid eye contact. Yes, that is a big thing. That's one of the main signs of autism is eye contact. Like you would, like, I don't know if you brother, you hear me say look at mommy. I
Yeah.
would make him look at me because
Yeah.
most times he would look away and try to talk. I'm like, no, look at mommy, look at me and talk to me, because sometimes you have to remind them.
Yeah.
Autistic people experience social interaction differences. The way this affects a person can vary and can include differences in the use and understanding of building and sustaining relationships, giving and receiving compliments, engaging in conversation, understanding humor, and showing concern for others. And so that's basic social skills. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's one of the signs as well. If your child is very standoffish, aloof, they don't want to play with other kids, they'd rather be off by themselves. I need to get evaluated. Brother.
Lord Jesus. She said it, not me. I ain't say it.
Because, child, I rather look, okay.
Yeah. Demons and all of that.
Look, I mean, I'd rather be by myself.
Nah, I get it. I get it.
I don't want to be around none of y'all jokers. Y'all crazy. I don't want to be around you. Okay, so let's talk about it a little bit. Okay, how this impacts day-to-day life. Autistic children may find it difficult to instigate or join in play with other kids. And we just said that. They really won't be by themselves. Autistic children may find it difficult to take turns in sharing. I had to work with Mr. Caleb with that. He was not about that sharing life. Uh, like, can I have some? No. Like, okay, well, geez. Developing and maintaining friendships and relationships can be difficult for everyone. Autistic adults have told us that they find this particularly difficult. This does not mean that they do not want relationships or friends, and that's very true. And I noticed with Mr. Caleb, the older he got, he's gotten, the better he's gotten at the forming friendships, and because he still communicates with his high school friends.
Okay.
They do the little Facebook thing because he has his little Facebook page, and
Mhm.
so they'll get on the little Facebook and look at each other. I don't know what they be saying, but they just be looking at each other. Whatever that is, okay. And it's so interesting because, like, in high school, Mr. Caleb had a girlfriend. Yes. Mr. Caleb had a girlfriend.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
Miss Kayla had a girlfriend. Miss Kayla wanted to go everywhere she went, and she was a she wasn't on the spectrum or anything. She was a quote unquote regular kid, but honey, he was sweet on her, and she was sweet on Kayla. Come sit with me, Kayla. Oh, they love Miss Kayla. I was like, y'all little
Okay.
child, y'all trying to set up my baby, because Mr. Kayla was a big boy. He's
Okay.
6'2". You know
Right.
what I'm saying? And look, shout out to Dr. Umar, but they were all bunnies.
Hey, yo.
They were
Damn.
all snow bunnies.
Grand
They
Rising, y'all. Grand
they
Rising.
look, the snow bunnies love
Mm.
my son. Okay. They
No, that's right.
Mr.
Like them chocolate.
Every day in high school he had a new snow bunny. Lord Jesus, help.
Everybody like chocolate. Everybody like chocolate, sis.
They was like, that dark chocolate tall boy. Like, wait a minute. Come sit with me,
Mm.
Caleb. Yeah, I'm watching
Get him,
y'all.
Caleb. Get him, Caleb. I know you got him.
Look, one time, Mr. Caleb went to the girls' locker room, child,
Oh man. Ooh.
brother, and that's when we knew puberty has hit. I was like, "Oh Lord, help me,
Oh
Jesus!"
man. Wanna see what's going on. I had some questions I wanted to ask you.
Right. He wanted to go see what's going on. I was like, "Oh Lord, here we go." Autistic people may not engage in conversation in the same way, which is very true. Like with Miss Katie, y'all see, I have to prompt him.
Yes.
And I have to give him a moment to process what I asked or what I said, and then he's able to answer. They autistic people may have difficulty in understanding rules of social relationships. This may cause many issues, including them offering truthful opinions rather than a tactful one. So that is social interactions with our autistic people. Um, what is this one? Lord Jesus. Oh, here's some more sensory things. So they will have sensory joy for certain colors. These are some of the things that brightens up their day. Okay. Um, of course, they have sensitivity to lights. We already talked about that. Um, they like certain things, and then they dislike certain things. They like, just like how I said he likes the church music, but he didn't like the loud sounds like from the ambulance or the fire truck. Even though they're high pitched sounds, both of them are high pitched sounds. One he didn't like, the other one he did. So this demonstration was showing the differences. He likes one thing and then he would like the other.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk. This one is a very important one for everyone that's communicating with someone with autism. Let's talk. You have to adapt your communication styles. So here are some tips I will give to parents, caregivers, or friends or family or whatever that are trying to communicate with someone with autism. Speak slowly and clearly. Let me say that again. Speak slowly and clearly. Allow time for the person to process the information. I just said that. You know what I mean? I give him a moment to process what I just asked or what we're saying, so that he can give the answer. Avoid relying on gestures or facial expressions or tone of voice. Don't use innuendos and metaphors. Keep it simple. I found, working with not just with Mr. Caleb, but different families, they are very literal. They're very literal and matter of fact. They're to the point. Don't put, if it's 1 + 1 = 2, don't put no nothing else there. Don't say 1A plus B. No, they are very literal, because then you're gonna have a problem and they're gonna correct you quick and fast. Like, no. Mm-mm. And here's another one: keeping your instructions short. Um, I'll say when he was smaller, I had to keep instructions short. But the more he matured, the more he grew. He's 21 now. God, he could be 22 years old. Jesus.
Yes, yes.
Now I can give him, a longer description, a longer instructions of doing things. So, I think a lot of times the maturity helps a lot with a lot of their symptoms.
Hmm.
Um, so we'll get into that as well on another date. Adaptive forms of communication. Actually, this is going to be another, uh, on Friday, I believe. No, Saturday. Saturday. Visual communication is going to be another a show on visual communication. So you'll see a lot of these on here. Some people with autism communicate in ways others than speech. Here are some examples: using gestures, sign language. Shout out to sis,
Whoop,
sign
whoop.
language.
Sign language too.
Sign out to the
ASL.
sign language game. Sounds, objects. They use the photographs of pictures or symbols. They call the PECS system, using PECS. Some people using the voice output devices, where they push the button what they want and it will say it for them. Computerized or technological devices. Some will do writing. Some would, sometimes when Mr. Caleb can't find the word to describe what it is, and he'll say, "Come see." He'll be like, "Come see."
There you go.
He'll
Yep.
tell me, "Come see," because he wants to show me something. So,
One
come
word.
see.
One word. One word.
Come see, come see. I'm like, okay.
We might have to do something with that hashtag "come see" on T-shirts or something.
Yeah, he was like,
But that
come see,
sounds good.
come see, mommy,
Yeah.
come see. So he wants to
Yeah.
show me something, or when he
That's
can't
fire.
figure out the right word to describe whatever it is. And music, y'all know Mr. Caleb and his music. Um,
Yes.
when he's sad, he will pull up a YouTube video of this beautiful young lady playing the violin. She's playing sad music. She's playing a sad song. So when he's sad, he'll say, "Come see," and he'll put on that video to let me know that he's sad. And I'll say, "Why are you sad?" And then that's when we have a little conversation. And when I kind of cheer him up, he will go to the YouTube video of um what's his name? Pharrell. Because I'm happy.
Okay.
he'll,
Nice.
he'll put that song
Nice.
on when he's happy. So after he get over his emotional moment, and I'm assuming he's letting me know that I'm okay, he'll put on the happy song. He'll be like, "I'm happy. Okay, mommy. Bye. Close my door." Okay. Be like, "Okay, kiddo, I'm out." Because he's 21 now. You gotta be knocking at the door and carrying on.
Right. That is correct.
Okay. Right, walk into some debauchery.
Lord have mercy.
Social interactions. People with autism often have challenges with common social experiences. We kind of touched on that. Typically, people on the spectrum do not learn social rules through experience. Social behaviors are taught in both the academic and community environment. Here is where You have to be a hands-on parent. That is like the theme. You have to be a hands-on parent. You cannot just put a tablet in front of them and let them go, because they won't learn a lot of behaviors and how to interact with people, how to do a lot of things if you're not a hands-on parent. Promote conscious parenting, okay?
That's a fact.
And here are some of the things that they have to learn that you have to teach them. You can't rely on the teachers at the school to teach them. Okay, you need to teach your child these things at home. Okay, eating etiquette, community social rules like how to cross the street, and not going into the grocery store and pulling down everything off the shelves, and bathroom etiquette, walking in lines, taking turn, privacy, personal boundaries, social languages, dress code. I mean, just regular things like, and making sure they understand, the teacher is the person that you should listen to, like, the person of authority, stuff like that. So you have to be hands on. I mean, I can't say that more than enough. You have to be hands on, because what I've found, and you'll hear me say this a lot throughout all these presentations, is whatever is being taught in the therapy sessions, as if you're not homeschooling at school, you need to do the exact same thing at home.
That's a fact.
It needs to be,
Reinforcement.
yes, it needs to be reinforced. It has to be a routine. It has to be a routine. And we almost done, y'all. Shout out to Hassan. I don't have 50 slides. Thank you.
What up,
All
Hassan?
right. He was trolling me about my slides this morning, brother. All right. Frustration and attention. If a person with autism shows signs of aggression, most often it is a result of frustration or a need for attention. The person may not have the skills to express appropriately. So this is very true. I had one experience with Mr. Caleb. Storytime Chronicles with Caleb. Caleb Chronicles right now. Caleb choked out the teacher. Jesus.
Wow, wait a minute. I didn't know we was gonna go there.
He became very angry, and I mean, you seen Mr. Caleb hands.
I have.
He wrapped his hands around that teacher's neck and started squeezing.
Hmm.
It took two burly men to get him off of her. He was frustrated. He got frustrated with her. What happened was, and here's the thing you will learn with people with autism, they are stickler for routine and structure. And if you try to break from that, some of them don't like that. And especially when they know, no, I am supposed to go here, here, and here. Why are you making me go here? And she pulled him to go in a different direction, and he was like, "Not today, bitch."
Yeah,
Jesus Christ.
I can imagine. Goodness.
And that was the first time he ever showed any aggression when it happened. I was like, "Oh my God, my child, Jesus." I think he was like 15. He was 15 years old, and Lord have mercy. And when I went to the school and I saw the teacher, and she had these huge handprints, red handprints around her neck. Oh my God. I was like, these people gonna put me out of school. But so these are some of the reasons why they do show aggression, is because they're frustrated. There's something that they need. And a lot of times they get frustrated because they can't find the words. That it's in their head. They know what to say. They know what it is, but they can't articulate it. And that
That's
gets them
correct.
very, very frustrated.
Yep.
And you can even see these on these panels, baby.
Thank you.
I
Thank
told
you.
you I need to do some evaluations on some
I
of these
mean,
people.
almost almost everything you said kind of applies to us as people, and especially the ones we see on the
Mm-hmm.
panels, especially the
Mm-hmm.
imagination play and so
Mm-hmm.
many different things. So you are absolutely right.
It makes you wonder, brother. Like,
And we don't want to be insensitive to people that are actually on the spectrum, and we don't want to just make it seem like any
right,
sign of things that's not going along with societal norms, we just gonna say,
right.
oh, he might be on the spectrum, but no, some of
And you
these
know
things
what?
kind of
Bro,
apply.
I
Go
hate
ahead.
and what makes, but you know what? I'm gonna tell you one of my pet peeves. I hate when I hear people say that people on the spectrum
Right.
and they're just trying to excuse their dumb behavior.
Thank you. That part.
Now
That
that
part.
pisses me off. When
Yeah.
I'm autistic. Like, nigga, you know you ain't autistic,
Yeah.
nigga, and you don't. I got anxiety. No, you don't.
No, you just insensitive. Yep.
I got anxiety and this and that. Like, no, you don't. Stop googling yourself, diagnosing yourself with googling, Karen. So I do get a little sensitive and a little triggered when I hear people throwing "I'm autistic"
Mm-hmm.
thing when they're trying to justify they bullshit. Yeah.
Copy.
Yeah,
Duly noted.
that pisses me off. I'll be like,
Yes, indeed.
here it is. Autism is not contagious, people. Especially if you have some young adults that are in school. Um, we tend to like to reiterate that, and you have some ignorant parents as well.
Right.
They think
That part.
my child would catch it if they play with a child with autism or something like that, or it's gonna
Wow.
rub off on me and stuff.
Wow.
You have some, yeah. I've come across, yeah. It's very interesting.
That's
When
crazy.
Caleb was in like elementary school, you know, or when we would go to like therapies and stuff like that, I've heard parents express that, like, and even in one instance where this young couple, um their family kind of shunned them because they felt like they were going to catch it or something.
Oh,
So
wow.
that's why shows like this is very important, because people are just ignorant and
Okay.
they just do dumb stuff. So
Duly noted.
to understand exactly what autism is, what are the signs, what are the factors in it, and it is not contagious. It's not going to rub off on you. Okay. Um, an invisible disability, often no outward physical characteristics or prosthetics identify a person with autism. It is something inward. Mannerisms and interactions may be misinterpreted or misunderstood. Onlookers may make the assumption and can be critical of odd and unruly behaviors. Difficulty with social interactions. A person with autism may not use an item appropriately, and this is where promote conscious parenting come in. These are the things that you should be teaching your child at home. When I was working in the school system, I had a little boy, and he didn't know how to use a spoon or a fork, so he would eat with his hands and stuff, um, and just like shove food in his mouth. And he was about 8 years old, and it kind of bothered me a lot. I ain't gonna say a little bit, but a lot, because like I've been saying all this time, you have to be a hands-on parent, right? I taught this little boy how to use a spoon in one day, and his parents couldn't do that in the 7 years of his life.
Right. Right.
That says a lot. That says a lot what goes on at home. Absolutely nothing. I taught
Absolutely.
this little boy in one day. Shout out to Dylan. His name was Dylan.
Shout out to Dylan. What up, Dylan?
I taught him how to use a spoon and how to feed himself with a spoon. Oh, that makes me kind of teary eyed.
No doubt.
Because
You did a good
it's
thing, sis.
sad.
You did a good thing.
It makes me mad when you have parents knowing your child has needs special attention, and it's a lot we're gonna get into this week. I swear, you cannot be an absent parent at all. Even not just with your child with special needs, but the quote unquote regular kid. You cannot be hands off, people.
Talk about it.
You cannot spend 99 hours on YouTube and on panels and shit. What your baby doing? Oh, your other kids watching? Mm.
Right. Right.
You
Boyfriend
shipping
slash babysitter.
you shipping
Hmm.
them off somewhere?
Hmm.
Are they getting the adequate attention that is really needed? And these are some of the things that I talk with a lot of our parents. And sometimes they don't like me. I don't care. Just like I don't be caring with these panels. I don't be giving a shit. But you're gonna listen though.
Mm,
You're
that's right.
gonna listen to what I say. And what I when I whatever advice I give to parents that I talk with, did that, done that. So I don't tell them anything that I haven't done, I haven't tried. So having trouble modifying activities, going to an isolated area by him or herself, not letting others partake in or what they're doing. So that's sort of like the social play. So this is kind of like repetitive. We already kind of talked about a little bit. So this is another clip on the social skills. Again, technical functions or social skills like going to the movies or going out to eat or going shopping can be done through visual aids, schedules, role playing, and actual experiences. You'll see in another live I'm going to do. I do have like a schedule board for Mr. Caleb. Um, and if your child is on level 1, which is severe autism, a lot of times they use the PEC system or other aids. We talked about the computers that use, so that you can put a schedule in and say, okay, we're going here, here, and here. So it's not a shock to them, and they're kind of getting acclimated to being in different places rather than being home. And I found a lot of times parents have a hard time because they don't want. We're going to talk about that later on tonight at 9:30. You'll see the video for that, the 7 stages of grief, where parents kind of hide their children. They don't take them outside for nothing because they hiding them because they're ashamed or they're
Mm,
afraid. People would say, or that interaction. So it's good to take them out and just
that's right.
prepare them for it.
It's their
So this
world too. This is their
exactly.
world too.
Mhm. Social skills are taught through academic lessons and community interaction. Boom. You gotta let them test the waters, test it out. It may not be as bad
Yep.
as you think it's gonna be.
Yes, indeed. That's right.
So these are some of the things, and appropriate social expectations, like location, age, and genders, and that kind of thing. So this is some of the repetitive things that we already talked about. And we talked about the difficulty communicating, or we talked about they having poor eye contact, um, the hand gestures, not quite understanding, can't express themselves. So they may cry, they may scream, they may rock from side to side. So basically, when they have difficulty communicating, that sensory overload happens, and they're going to do whatever they use to soothe themselves. All right, what about friends and family? Many people with autism experience other medical, behavior, and mental issues that affect their quality of life. A lot of them have seizures or chronic GI issues, sleeping, eating issues, and other mental health issues. And here goes family is the biggest team player. Your village is going to be the biggest team player. A lot of people with autism experience anxiety and depression and GI issues. And here again, brother, this is where you're going to have to pay attention to your kid. You're going to have to pay attention to your child. I can recognize when Caleb is not feeling well, not just physically, but when there's something going on in his head or emotionally, because I paid that much attention to him.
Yes, indeed.
Promote y'all gotta be conscious parenting. Y'all got to be a conscious parent. All right, impact on the family. Impact on the family. We're going to get more into that later on this week. It's harder to get things done because excuse access demands. C Breezy had made a comment earlier. He was saying that it would be hard to having a job and raising the child with autism. Yes, here are some of the issues. Strain. It can have a strain on your marriage or personal relationships. Yes, because I didn't date until Caleb was like 11.
Hmm.
11 years, okay? Because I was hyper focused on getting my baby better. So my personal life and me getting wet was on the back burner, okay?
That's right.
Increased demand on family members, minimal respite options, burned out. You get burnt out, or depression can you result in depression. We're going to talk about that later as well. Strain and changes on the employment of the parent or caretaker. Increased financial burden, yes, because I had my food bill is $300 to $400 a week. Okay.
Mhm. So this is kind of where we come in at. Once we realized that we were adequate parents and people
Mm-hmm.
started to um, select us to be godparents, we kind of started to sign ourselves up for foster care and
Mm-hmm.
respite. And that's when we became therapeutic foster parents.
Mm-hmm.
So, we were able to make the acquaintance of many a children, in this area. But that's where it started. It started with the consideration for the burnout, for the
Mm-hmm.
families that got to deal with this and don't ever get a break.
Right.
Like, this is why, like, we love you, sis. We see, like, this is you got this on your shoulders. You don't ask for help, you don't look for help, you're on it all the time, and that's admirable. And we always been like, we do not want people to get burned out. There has to be some people that they can send their
Mm-hmm.
child, or is willing
Mm-hmm.
to take a hand in this village raising this child with these needs, and it has to be organic. And this is, how we were able to get into this world. And, shout out to our little ones, to Jacelyn, who had Asperger's, so
Mm-hmm.
she couldn't recognize the social cues. That was her thing. Nikki got a godson, Jakai,
Mm-hmm.
bless him, and Laurel. Nikki worked with a level one, very high functional young lady, and she
Mm-hmm.
became family. And now it's just like, we're inseparable. You can't get rid of us. But seeing all of these things, and like I said, they became the geniuses to me. That's what it showed me,
Yes.
sis. Like, we just
Mm-hmm.
normies. Like, we care about how people gonna feel about what I said, and if it's
Mm-hmm.
politically correct, they don't
Right.
operate
Right.
on that field right
Mm-hmm.
there. And that's a blessing. We are burdened with the curse of walking with this backpack of having to know what to do at the right time and have all of the right answers to the test. They don't do that. And
Right.
I just see them having so much more freedom than we do. And we try to put them in a bubble when we the ones that should be there. I'm
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Most
stop right
definitely.
there.
Shout out to y'all. True. And the burnout is and that you'll see that in the coming, yeah. Um, I know all too well what it's like when, especially in the earlier days, when Caleb was, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, when he was baby, and growing up, it was hard, and I was by myself too. because I was traveling from North Carolina to Louisiana, then to Florida, then to South Carolina, then I was everywhere. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so having a village was kind of difficult because I was traveling for work and stuff. So it was like, okay, and oh, I the burnout is real. The burnout is real, and I can't tell you how many times I have just cried myself to sleep, just wanting 30 minutes, one break when he was younger. Because when he was younger, he required more attention because I was working. Because we were working with him to get him to that level 2 and that level 3. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because
Yes.
when he was first diagnosed, he was level 1, so he was on the severe end. And
Okay.
I thank God that I was able to work with him to get him where he is. So and that was hard. I cried a lot, and even sometimes I still do when I think about the future. You know, you know, I'm not playing chicken. Okay. Um,
I know.
for Black TV for the $1 super chat. Thank you, darling. What is this green thing up there? I don't know. But anyway, um, but yeah. So tune in for the presentation on self care, which is tomorrow. For those, yeah. Thank you for my lunch, Black. It's dinner time. We need more than that. What's up? What? Oh Lord. Mm-mm.
Lord Jesus. Y'all give Dr. Umar money. Y'all gonna give Sister
Okay.
Same
I'm trying to figure out what this
calling
big green thing in front of the lady. I gotta figure that out.
coffee. Was that coffee or something?
I don't know. Shout out to brother for
It's
the
like a coffee
$2.
cup.
No, it's like a little money thingy something on in front of the lady.
I don't
Um,
know. Somebody give some more money. Let's figure this out. Let's see if we can figure this out
okay.
tonight. I think if three more
Look,
people give some money, I think we could
I
figure it
think
out,
I
sis.
think I think they need to see my sister again.
Don't forget to hit the Cash App and support the show. $Red Lipstick Vibes.
Okay, y'all heard my sister. That's Melissa. Okay, shout
Oh,
out to
that's right.
Melissa.
Tell them, tell
Okay,
them, listen.
when you send money, put this is for Melissa. Okay, that's Melissa. That's Melissa fun. That's my little sister. Okay.
What kind of
um.
shoes was those she had on? I like them shoes she had on.
Oh, you like how she is? Okay. It affects self-esteem as a result of criticism and exclusion. Very true. Changes in social opportunities, perceived or actual. Changes in priorities. Yes, everything changes. Everything. Pretty much everything changes. Okay. Decrease in recreation and leisure activities. Yes, child. That's a big one. Everything changes. Okay. And like I just said, sometimes I'm in deep thought because the concerns for the future carry me. Because we're not getting younger, we're getting older.
That's a fact.
All right, family talks. Here are some of the things you might hear. My son has taken a stranger's food right off his plate. What could I possibly say to apologize? What do you think, brother? What can the person say to
Lord.
apologize?
I mean, I think you can just be honest. Honesty is always going to be the best policy. Again, this is what we deal with. These people are a part of our world, a part of our family. So I would just be honest, sis. I would apologize, of course. I would offer to pay for more food, of course, even if it's
Mhm.
something more expensive or better. But I would just, delegate the situation. But ultimately, my message would be, they don't operate on the same playing field that we do, but they still out here and they still operating like they deserve to live in this world. And I apologize for the inconvenience and the insensitivity, but this is a work in progress and it's not a race, it's a marathon. and this is a hurdle that we had to jump over. So I would definitely try to smooth it out as best as I could and be as diplomatic as possible, but I
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't be, super apologetic or super remorseful or embarrassed, because now I'm sending a message to my loved one that, they're lesser than, or
Right,
there has
right.
to be these extra considerate, like, nah, we're not doing that. But, I
Yeah.
come from this world where we're solid in public. We can always work things out in private, but in public we solid. So again, I'm going to be diplomatic and mature and everything, but I'm
Hmm.
not going to be, embarrassed because that
Right.
happened.
Yeah. Yeah. I would be just a simple. I'm sorry, and try to. I wouldn't overly over explain. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
Here's one that I hear a lot from the parents that I talk with. I don't want sympathy or pity. Like, oh, I'm sorry, and you know, I'm so sorry for you. You know what I mean? Um,
Right. Right. Right.
yeah, like,
What do you think about that sentiment, someone expressing that sort of a sentiment?
sometimes people it can be overkill. They just do too much,
Got you.
and there's no need for you to be sorry. What are you sorry for? Or
Right.
and why do you have sympathy for me? Because he's probably
Right.
smarter than you. Okay, I'm just saying.
Thank you.
That's what I'm just saying.
Thank you.
Um, I know he can
I
pretty
mean,
much
and this is what I was saying
he
about
can
how they
definitely
don't.
choke you to death. We know that much.
Right. You know what I mean? And this is what I mean by they kind of don't play on the same playing field. Like,
Mhm.
you're trying to find the right words to say to me and lie to me, even when I can see through I can see through your shit. You don't
Exactly.
mean this stuff that you're saying to me, or
Right.
you're just trying to be condescending, or whatever the case may be. But again, they don't operate from that playing field.
Mm-mm.
So it's crazy to me that we try to act like we're not the ones that need work.
Exactly. Shout out to Black. He wants donations. He wants to hit the donations.
A lot of people hit me up for interviews. Y'all gonna have to come out the fucking pockets because I'm not doing shit for free. 3,500 to 10K is my range. Y'all pay Dr. Umar thousands of dollars to get the fuck on there and talk. Y'all gonna pay me the same shit. Fuck.
We in the building. Hit the Cash App, $FDMG school. Hit the Cash App, dollar.
Shout out to Black for that.
She said, "The fuck."
The fuck that I fall out every time she do that. That's the funniest part. Faith
Yeah.
communities. Here's another thing that you can a lot of parents find. You find strength and help in faith communities. Many parents turn to religions, congregations for support and acceptance. Congregations will experience personal beliefs as a result of inclusion, help organize and sustain support and service to meet the individual's spiritual needs. Friendships. Harassment and bullying usually happens as a result of not understanding the reason for the differences. Um, when Caleb was 6, he had an experience of a little bully on the bus, and that's when I took my kid out of school. I was like, "Y'all not no, we not doing that." Um, so that was a wake up call for me because he was so small, and to have a bigger kid, kind of like bully him because he wouldn't talk back to him. Yeah, that was a huge wake up call for me. So I had to make some changes um, in his academic life. It
Indeed.
became expensive, but public school was not the answer. Yeah, so public school was not where we're going to go. But by understanding that many behaviors and habits are not by choice, people are um, more likely to be accepting. With increased knowledge, and this is why we're doing this symposium. With increased knowledge, people will become more open to interactions and developing friendships. Because, just like Mr. Caleb is a gentle giant, baby. Okay. He is a gentle giant. Care providers. Having trained and caring community care providers is important to the quality of life. Shout out to brother and sis for providing some services for people that, need that extra boost, need that extra time, need that extra care. So shout out to you guys, and shout out to, I believe DJ Wish Doctor works at a home that take care of people with disabilities. Shout out to him as well. To all the care providers.
Salute.
Salute to you.
Salute. Yes, indeed.
And this is another live that's going to be explain a little bit more about respite care and other care. I believe that one is going to be on next week. Then we have the academic options. Okay, you can put them in public school setting, but after that little bullying situation, I took Mr. Cato out of public school. I put him in private school. It was more private school that was specialized in his disability. So yeah, I wasn't about having that. Or shout out to sis for the homeschool programming. And then there are also various types of therapies geared towards academic programs. And we'll be getting into more of that too. So stay tuned. Teenagers with autism. Okay, look, been there, done that. They're more socially
Yeah.
inexperienced. We know this. Like we just talked about earlier, Mr. Caleb choking the teacher. Okay. There the effect of puberty in various ways. And then what I have learned that their sensibility and stuff that they feeling is 10 times heightened than the regular person. If you get what I'm saying. I don't want to be too vocal.
I do.
Okay.
I do.
More likely to be rejected and bullied by their peers, trouble understanding common social situations, confused, stress, and often leading to running away from play, school, work activities. We're going to talk about this on the 28th. That eloping and wandering is a big issue in the autism community. And finally, see Hassan, when you go back and watch the replay, I don't want to hear no stuff. I don't want to hear no stuff from your side. And finally, realize that there is no one size fit all when it comes to autism. Okay, it's never. Each person is different. Everybody has their own different quirks, languages, things that they do. It's never one size fit all. The needs of one may be vastly different to the next. You must put in the time. There it goes again, brother.
Talk about it.
Put in the time to establish a rapport to find an individual's strength and needs. I'm going to talk about that extensively. Parents, you cannot be a hands-off parent. Okay. Here's a little example. And then we're going to be done. Because there's a premiere that's going to be happening at 9. When Caleb was beginning to learn, I think he was like in kindergarten or first grade, and the teacher was having a hard time getting him to memorize things or stuff like that. And by me working with him at home, I recognized that music was his thing, right? So my whole family's music inclined, so I didn't think nothing of it. I thought that was something, is in his genes, you know what I mean? But the teacher and the therapist didn't recognize it. I recognize it that Mr. Caleb learns in rhythm. He learns in rhythm. And so when I, the parent, shared this with the teachers, and then they implemented in the classroom, they figured out that was his strength, and he began to flourish from there. Again, you cannot be a hands-off parent. Being aware of autism and the differences experienced by autistic people is key. Be understanding. People with autism have a lot to offer, but may need support. Consider how you adapt to consider how you adapt the environment to decrease sensory issues, decreasing noise, dimming lights. Miss Kate will turn on all the lights and find quiet spaces and adapt your communication style. And we talked about that as well. So that I wanted to share this because the rest for the next 2 weeks they're going to be different types of videos going on, premieres, lives, and I just wanted to get the basics down of what autism is and a little bit of information. Here's some autism resources. All of these links I will be posting in the comment section. So if you have some information that you need to look up, I'm going to post all these links in the comment section. And also you can find this on our website as well. So you can go to www.ACCPSafe, which means Autistic Children Connecting Parents. .com, or you can email me at support@accpsafe.com if you have any questions, if you need some information, if you live in a state or a city where you can't quite find the services that you need, contact me. I will help you. I have a little pull. Okay. So just let me know, and I can find whatever it is you need. I would do my best to help you. So if you need any information, again, contact me or visit the website. And all of these links are definitely going to be in the description. So you will have a plethora of information. Okay, guys. So, brother, that's it. I done.
This was dope, sis. This was dope. You know
Done.
how I feel about this type of information about this community of people.
Mhm.
I think that we, as people, this kind of solidifies the way I talk, sis,
Mhm.
because this is where it depends. This
Mhm.
is where everybody is actually different. This is where you need to meet people where they are, find out how you're going to relay your communication style, pay
Mhm.
attention, and govern yourself accordingly. The
Right. Yeah.
these all of us normies, all of us who all got masters. Well,
Right. Right.
your
Right.
master degree and my master degree. Well, it
Right.
depends on your man. No, no, no. We're all normies. We all
Right.
got master degrees. We went to college and got them. We all kind of
Yeah.
the same. You talk this, we different and all of this shit. No, no. This
Mhm.
community right here is where everybody is different, need to be considered, and
Right.
the observation, like this is where it comes into play. But I
Mhm.
see it being practiced in the other arena. Like it's really like we really need to be sensitive to these people and watch what I say and how I say it
Right.
to
Yeah.
these quote unquote normies. No, because
Mhm.
y'all don't, again, y'all don't show the same love to the people who deserve it. So, miss
Right.
me with all of that. Light up the blue. And like I said, salute to all of our godchildren, all of the people that are on the spectrum, because we know y'all are amazing. And good luck to you, quote unquote normies. Good luck.
Okay. See, the normies becoming instinct.
Sure. Yeah, this was dope information, sis. Dope information as
So
usual.
I hope you guys have some information, and if something on here that you didn't quite understand or you need a little bit more information, just send me a message.
Yes.
I'll phone call away. We do have a hotline for the autism website. This is 24 hours where I talk to a lot of parents when they're at the end of their rope. I talk them off the ledge.
Hmm.
So
You
I don't.
can't sleep too long, sis.
I did not know it, right?
Yeah.
So and that's a whole nother show. So guys, later on,
Hmm.
so here's what's coming up this week. Well, tomorrow.
Hmm.
How couples stay connected and strong. Mhm.
Nice.
Then we have later on tonight, the 7 stages of grief. This one is a real good one. Myself, Miss She Said, and Miss Sherry, which you'll see her interview later on this week as well on Saturday with her son. She is of the Caucasian persuasion, because we always focusing on Black people, but
That was a dope interview.
I want to
Yeah,
make sure that integrated different
absolutely.
races and ethnicities in this situation, because I know it's not a Black issue, it's a people issue, right?
That's a fact.
So tonight, make sure you guys tune in for the 7 stages of grief. That is tonight. Tomorrow, how couples stay together. Another one, tips for single parents. Okay. See, Breezy he said that in the chat. It could be difficult trying to deal with the job, and also, dealing with the child with autism. Look, I have some tips for you guys, for single parents, for that. Miss She Said drops some gems on how to stay connected as a couple. We talked about that. We talked about that as well. And lastly, tomorrow you will see a upload for you can't pour from an empty cup. We addressing
That's a fact.
parental self-care tomorrow. So make sure you guys support tomorrow. I will be in the chat. These were recorded. We had already recorded these because I can't do 99 lives. Okay, I still got to do other things. All right. So a lot of these are some of the information you're going to see has been pre-recorded. Okay. But please still support. We're going to be in the chat. We're going to be going back and forth. I still going to be, dishing some information in the chat as well. And, this is going to be some good information. So myself and a couple of other guests, we break down a couple of things. So tomorrow is going to be a full day of content about autism. And you heard it here first. Ain't nobody else doing it, but I digress.
Damn. Her mic is muted.
My mic is
That's crazy.
just in case Melissa got a message for y'all one more time, okay?
Don't forget to hit the Cash App and support the show. $Red Lipstick Vibes.
Y'all better donate to my little sister, okay?
I know that's right.
She need to get some cherry balls, some candy, okay? Just saying.
All right.
I have a little short commercial. Here we go. So it is www.accpsafe.com where you can find your information. Okay. All right,
Damn.
mommy.
What's CBZ say in the chat? Look at CBZ last chat. What it say? I
Wait,
can't read it. It's blurry.
hold on, wait a minute. Red don't talk about. Oh yeah, I don't talk about the
Damn.
kids either.
Damn, Red.
Yeah, we
Shame on you.
we don't talk about the kids and
Lord Jesus. How dare y'all?
we don't talk about the kids over here.
You is. Man.
we
Don't do it, y'all.
child.
Mm,
Okay.
mm, mm.
Well,
This was fun though, sis. Very
yeah,
nice.
this was
Very
good.
nice work.
I enjoyed it.
Nice work.
Make sure you guys tune in at 9:31 of the two for the
Yeah.
7 stages of grief. We will be in the chit chatting because it gets kind of emotional. We get kind of the mama bears, the 3 mama bears was talking some stuff,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
we really
Yeah.
get raw with it, and we you know,
Too.
it,
It
you,
was a
I mean,
good. It was a good
you
show.
gotta, you
It was
gotta,
a
you
good
gotta,
show.
gotta be transparent sometimes.
Right, exactly. Like that's sometimes it's called for that. Again, we have fun when it's time, but you guys have those
Yeah,
conversations when it's time as well. And that's why I wave my flag for y'all, man. It's
yeah,
really organic. It's not just because you my sister and that's my wife, even though I love y'all. I love y'all for being those things. But
yeah.
y'all dope, man. And it's
So,
messed up when, people
yeah.
don't see that. Y'all dope.
Well, look, brother. Well, you know what I say. The people that need to see it, they the ones to see it.
That's a fact.
They
That's
the
a
ones to see
fact.
it. Having said that,
Uh-oh.
I'll see y'all later.
Damn.
As soon as the show over, he do like this. Well, I'm ready to go. Hello. Why do they doubt the kid? I'm about to prove them all wrong again. I got a low tolerance, cause they don't even know what the problem is. It's me. You waiting on the boy to fail, then hold your breath and face your death. Cause you play a roulette with each step I progress, no less. Go ahead and place your bets. Cause we know where we at, we know we top tier. Cause all the hate that you bring, we know it stops here. I'm taking off like a rocket here and stopping here. It's strange how they cannot see the future, but see profit here. Wait up, we gon' always win. Promise that that's not a promise, yeah, that is a threat. You know that I promise to bring the team commas. When the whole team win, that's when you flex. Win, and I'ma do it again. Watch me win, then watch me do it again. Tell 'em I can't take no loss. My team hold no L's, no. Aiming for the top, can't make it by myself. I ain't taking no loss. I ain't taking no loss. Look, I'ma always win. I ain't taking no loss. Look, I'ma always win. We already know that we the coldest. Watch me heat it up, let me focus. I'm going toe to toe with foes. I know they notice. I kick in doors, they only hope for closing. Why? Cause they know I go again. And when they get it right, I'm the one that can make it flow again. Talk to me nice, my team they ready to go again. Running into us, we'll gladly send you home again. We don't talk, better know the grind gon' match my walk. I'm a cheat code, I don't take no loss. Making no sense, run up the scope. Cause all I do is win. And I'ma do it again. Watch me win, then watch me do it again. Tell 'em I can't take no loss. My team hold no L's, no. Aiming for the top, can't make it by myself. I ain't taking no loss. I ain't taking no loss. Look, I'ma always win. I ain't taking no loss. Look, I'ma always win. I'm winning again and again and again, and it's all on repeat. I'ma just sit at the top cause I'm running it, dog. On me, I don't know defeat. Had to get back on the phone. I told them don't play with my name cause I know that it rings. They want my spot at the top with the crown and they ask who's a rocket. I tell them it's me. I'ma always